Have you ever felt that the more you try to control your life, the more out of control it becomes? You plan. You push. You try to force things into place, but somehow, everything keeps falling apart. But what if I told you that true power doesn't come from control at all, but from calm? In this video, you're going to uncover 11 Stoic lessons that can reshape the way you think, react, and live. These aren't just feel-good phrases or vague ideas. These are battle-tested strategies, wisdom passed down from the Stoics over centuries, designed to help you stay calm in the chaos and turn your stillness into your greatest strength. So, are you ready to discover how staying calm can become your guiding light to real success? Let's begin. But before we dive into the first lesson, let me take you back in time, to the story of a man who became a living embodiment of Stoic philosophy. A man who faced a nightmare few of us could even imagine, and survived, thanks to the power of inner peace. His name was James Stockdale, a U.S. Navy pilot. He was highly trained, calm under pressure, in full control of his aircraft and every mission. In the sky, he was the master of every move, every decision, every outcome. Until one day, in the middle of the brutal Vietnam War, everything changed in an instant. His plane was shot down. There was no time to think, only the deafening noise, the jolt of impact, the gut-wrenching freefall through the sky. He ejected. A parachute opened. But even before his feet touched the ground, Stockdale knew he wasn't landing in friendly territory. He was falling into the hands of the enemy. Captured immediately, he was beaten mercilessly, dragged like a lifeless doll across the dirt, and treated like nothing more than wreckage from the sky. But that was only the beginning. Inside the POW camp, his real trial began. He was tied up, tortured, locked away in crushing isolation, days and weeks without a voice, a face, or a single shred of human connection. So, what kept him going? What kept him sane when everything was designed to break him? It wasn't physical strength. It wasn't sheer will. It was calm, and the timeless wisdom of Stoic thinking. And that's where we begin. In the next part, we'll explore the first Stoic lesson, a golden principle that can change how you face life's storms forever. But the true lesson from Stockdale's story wasn't just about surviving the first day. It was about surviving the next 2.555 days. 7 years. Not 7 days. Not 7 months. 7 relentless, soul-crushing years, locked in a tiny, dark cell, not knowing if he'd ever see sunlight again. Not knowing if each new sunrise would be his last. Most men would break. And many did. They gave up. They surrendered to fear. They let despair seep into their minds and poison their will to live. They stopped believing. And when belief dies, the body soon follows. But James didn't break. And it wasn't because he was the strongest man physically. It wasn't because he had some superhuman endurance. No, what made him invincible was something far more powerful than muscle. He had control over his mind. James Stockdale wasn't just a pilot. He was a student of Stoicism. And when he was trapped in that concrete tomb, with nothing but pain and silence, he remembered the words of Epictetus. It is not things themselves that disturb us, but our interpretations of them. He couldn't control his surroundings. He couldn't stop the torture, the isolation, or the cruelty. But he could control how he experienced it. He couldn't stop them from hitting him. But he could stop them from breaking him. He couldn't escape the prison. But he could cling to the one thing they could never take. his attitude. And that changed everything. Instead of drowning in despair, he chose resistance. He became the secret leader of the prisoners. He created a coded communication system so no one felt alone. He taught them how to resist mentally, how to protect their minds from being conquered. While his captors tried to destroy his identity, he kept whispering to himself in the silence, "This does not define me. I am stronger than this." And he was. He endured all 7 years. And when he was finally released, someone asked him the question, "How did you survive it?" His answer was quiet, but powerful. "I accepted the reality. But I never lost faith in my ability to overcome it." In that one sentence, Stockdale revealed a truth most people never learn. The path to freedom doesn't begin outside the prison, it begins in the mind. And that's the first Stoic lesson: you don't control events, but you can always control your response. Coming up next, let's break down this core idea and how you can apply it to your everyday life, even when everything feels out of control. And that's the truth James Stockdale proved with his life. You don't control what happens to you, but you always control how you respond. That was the key to his survival. And now, here's the real question. What's stealing your calm today? Is it a tough day at work? A fight with someone you love? A mistake that keeps haunting you? Or maybe it's just that quiet, creeping feeling that everything's falling apart and you can't stop it. But remember this. If James Stockdale could stay strong in the middle of a living nightmare, then so can you. No matter how overwhelming life feels, no matter how loud the chaos gets, there's always one thing you still own completely: your response. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to master that response. Not just with theory, but with real, timeless Stoic wisdom that will help you stay centered when the world around you spins out of control. Let's get into it. But first, if you've found value in this message so far, consider subscribing and becoming an exclusive member. You'll get access to unique perks, and most importantly, you'll be part of a growing community of people learning to live with clarity, courage, and calm. And we'd love to hear from you in the comments. What does staying calm in a chaotic world mean to you? Or simply type "I am Stoic" to let us know you're walking this path too. Let's grow stronger, together. Lesson 1: Calm is your greatest weapon. Now, picture this. You're behind the wheel of a Formula One race car. Your hands grip the wheel tightly. The engine roars like a wild beast beneath you. The track is blazing hot, the sun pounding down, the air thick with pressure. You're flying down the final stretch, seconds away from victory. But then, a sharp turn. The tires lose grip. The car starts to slide. For a terrifying moment, it feels like the world is spinning and you're not even in control anymore. This is the moment that separates the great from the ordinary. And in this moment, you have two choices. Option 1. Panic. Freeze. React on instinct, jerk the wheel, slam the brakes. Do something, anything, just to feel like you're in control again. But what happens? You overcorrect. You spin out. And suddenly, you're off the track, in the gravel. Race over. Option 2. Stay calm. Feel the slide. Accept it. Don't fight the moment with fear, navigate it with skill. Ease off the throttle. Steer with intention. And wait for the exact right moment to bring the car back under control. That's what the world's best drivers do. And in the race of life, it's exactly the same. Panic is your enemy. Calm is your edge. That's why the best drivers in the world don't win because they're the fastest. They win because they keep a cool head when everything spins out of control. They don't fight the curve, they read it, respond to it, and use its momentum to their advantage. And life is no different. You can't dodge every problem. You can't swerve around every crisis. But you can learn to meet each one with clarity and precision, instead of panic and reaction. Look closely at the world's most successful people, the real ones. Not the loudest, not the flashiest, but the ones who endure and keep rising. What do they all have in common? It's not that they avoid hardship. It's not that their lives are smooth, or that they never face collapse. It's that when everything turns against them, they don't collapse with it. They don't spiral. They don't hand over their decisions to fear. They stay on course, with discipline, focus, and calm. Author Ian Holiday, in his book The Obstacle is the Way, calls this kind of calm a strategic advantage. He writes that real strength doesn't lie in brute force or reckless speed. It lives in the ability to remain composed, even when everything seems to be falling apart. And this isn't just a motivational slogan to stick on your wall. There's science behind it. A calm mind doesn't just feel better, it functions better. Marcus Aurelius knew this nearly 2,000 years ago when he wrote, "If you are disturbed by something external, it is not the thing itself that troubles you, but your judgment about it." And now, modern neuroscience confirms what Stoics have known all along. When you react impulsively, when you snap, scream, or shut down, it's your amygdala in charge. That's the primal part of the brain responsible for emotional flare-ups like fear, anger, and frustration. It acts fast, but not wisely. But when you pause, when you choose calm over chaos, you activate your prefrontal cortex. That's the part of the brain responsible for reasoning, reflection, long-term thinking, and intelligent decision-making. A study from the Institute of Cognitive Neuroscience in London discovered that people who consistently train themselves to stay calm under pressure don't just suffer less from stress. They also make better decisions, and achieve more sustainable, long-term success. Because they don't make choices based on a moment of fear. They make choices with a clear, composed mind. And that brings us to the next Stoic principle, one that builds directly on this power of calm. A mindset shift that will help you face challenges, not as obstacles, but as opportunities. Are you ready? Because sure, it's easy to nod along while watching a video like this. It's easy to feel wise and centered when you're curled up with a book, sipping coffee in a quiet room. But life doesn't give you perfect moments. It throws curveballs. It knocks on your door with chaos, not courtesy. The real challenge is not understanding calm, it's practicing it when everything goes sideways. So, how do you train your mind to stay steady when the storm hits? Let me show you 2 simple but powerful strategies you can start using right now. Strategy 1, the observer technique. Next time something upsets you, try this. Don't react. Don't rush. Instead, imagine you're not the one living the moment. Pretend you're sitting in a movie theater, watching your life on the big screen. You're just a spectator, watching the scene unfold. Now ask yourself, What advice would you give the main character? Chances are, you'd tell them to breathe, to stay cool, to not say something they'll regret, to take a step back and look at the bigger picture. This little mental shift, just pulling yourself out of the emotional center and stepping into the role of the observer, can change how you respond. It gives you space, and in that space, you find clarity. Strategy 2, train calm like a daily workout. Here's the real secret. Don't wait for a crisis to practice calm. Start small. Train every day, just like building muscle. Let's say you come home from the grocery store. You start unpacking. Everything's normal, until your carton of eggs decides it wants to be a gymnast. It flips off the counter, crashes to the floor, and explodes into a sticky disaster. Your instinct? Shout, swear, blame gravity, blame life, wonder why the universe has it out for you. But, this is your training moment. If something this small can make you lose your cool, what will you do when life hits you with something real? If you can't stay calm during the little messes, you won't stand a chance when the big ones come. Calm doesn't magically appear in your darkest hour. It's not some heroic switch you flip in a crisis. It's a muscle. And you build it, slowly, daily, in quiet little tests like dropped eggs, spilled coffee, traffic jams, and delayed emails. So, let me ask you this. Do you really want to keep reacting like a rookie driver, spinning out at the first sharp turn? If calmness is what gives you strength, why are you still letting the world shove you off track every time it twitches? So now that we've started training our calm like a muscle, let's go one layer deeper. Because here's something else we need to face. You can't control everything. And the moment you try to, you've already lost. Let me ask you, have you ever had one of those days? You wake up early, energized. Today's the day. You've planned it all out, down to the minute. You're going to finish that big project, get in a solid workout, and cook a perfect dinner to end the day. It's all lined up. It's going to be great. But then, boom. Reality crashes through the door. Your boss suddenly needs something urgent that wasn't in your schedule. Your workout window disappears. Your dinner plans? Cancelled. Your friend bails last minute. You reach out to someone for support, hoping they'll lift you up. But instead, they hit you with a careless comment that completely ruins your mood. You feel frustration creeping in like a slow fire. Nothing is going according to plan. And worst of all, you can't stand it. But here's the twist. The problem isn't just the day falling apart. The deeper issue is this. We don't just want to control our own actions. We want to control everything and everyone around us too. We want the world to follow our plan. We want people to respond the way we expect. We want everything to unfold exactly as we imagined in our heads. But how often does that actually happen? Let me ask you. How many times have you tried to change someone? To make them see reason? To get them to do things the way you believe they should be done? Maybe you give your friend the same advice over and over. But they keep making the same mistakes. Or you try to get your partner to understand your side. But they just don't see it the way you do. Or maybe you wish your parents would stop worrying so much. That they'd finally understand your choices. But they don't. And when they don't, you get angry. frustrated, defeated. Like everything is going off the rails again. But here's the thing. The situation isn't the problem. Your attachment to controlling it is. And that's where the real shift begins. The moment you realize you're not just battling reality. You're battling your need to control it. Entrepreneur and thinker Naval Ravikant put it clearly when he said, "Desire is a contract you make with yourself to be unhappy until you get what you want." Let that sink in. So, why does letting go feel so impossible? Because deep down, most of us believe that if we stop trying to control everything, life will collapse. But the truth is exactly the opposite. As Naval Ravikant once said in his powerful talks on happiness and personal success, suffering comes from the desire to control the uncontrollable. He wasn't just talking philosophy, he was describing the very trap that so many people live inside every single day. We spend our lives trying to force outcomes, manipulate timing, reshape people, predict the unpredictable. But in doing so, we exhaust ourselves. Naval's insight was simple, but profound. The key is to let go. To stop grasping at what's outside your influence, and instead put your energy into what is. And he wasn't the first to say this. Over 2,000 years ago, the Stoic philosopher Epictetus said almost the exact same thing. Some things are up to us, and some are not. Only those who cling to what they cannot control will suffer. And once again, modern science is catching up to ancient wisdom. A Stanford University study put this idea to the test. Researchers wanted to understand how uncertainty impacts emotional well-being. So they ran an experiment. They gave two groups of participants a task. One group had full control over the outcome. The other group? Their results were determined by external forces, things they couldn't influence. Afterward, researchers measured their stress levels. So, what did they find? Those who accepted uncertainty, who didn't fight against it, showed significantly lower anxiety, greater adaptability, and a more balanced emotional state. Meanwhile, the people who tried to cling to control, they were drained, stressed, and constantly frustrated. So let me ask you, which side would you rather be on? The side that learns to flow with life and focuses on what can be changed? Or the side that burns out trying to make the wind blow in the direction they demand? If you truly want to live a life where every obstacle doesn't knock you off balance, if you want to keep walking your path with strength and intention, then I have two challenges for you. Challenge 1, the so what? Challenge. The next time something doesn't go your way, stop. Take a breath. And ask yourself, so what? Will this matter in 5 years? You'll be surprised at how many problems shrink instantly under that question. Because the truth is, most of what stresses us out today won't even be a memory in a few months. Challenge 2, controlled chaos. Now, this one might make you flinch. You might even laugh and say, "No way, that's not me." But trust me, it could change your life. Here's what you do. 1 day a week. Don't plan everything. No rigid schedule. No micromanaging every hour. Let go, intentionally. Go with the flow. See what happens. You'll be amazed at how your mind adapts. How you find peace not through control, but through presence. Because here's the truth. Life isn't some perfectly paved highway, where everything follows your GPS. It's more like sailing across open waters. The waves will come. Storms will shift your direction. And you'll never have full control over the wind. But you can control your sails. You can adjust your course. And most importantly, you can always choose your attitude, your decisions, and your response. So many of us waste years fighting for control, thinking that if we can just hold everything tightly enough, life will finally cooperate. But that's not where real success lies. True strength comes from knowing when to let go, when to adapt, to flow, and to take charge of the only thing that's truly in your hands: your response. Lesson 3, be grateful before you complain. Let's talk about your brain for a moment. Think of it like a garden. Whatever you plant in it, that's what grows. If, day after day, you water it with stress, frustration, and complaints, you'll end up with a dry, thorn-filled wasteland, barren, heavy, and bleak. Now, that might sound like a poetic metaphor, but it's also backed by science. A group of researchers at the University of California, Berkeley, wanted to see how gratitude affects the brain. So, they ran a simple experiment. They divided participants into 2 groups. The first group was instructed to write down 3 things they were grateful for every night, no matter how big or small. The second group? They were free to write about anything, no specific focus, no guidelines. Weeks went by. Then came the analysis. The results? The first group, the ones who practiced gratitude daily, showed increased activity in the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for calmness, clear decision-making, and emotional resilience. It was as if their minds had gone through daily mental training, learning to spot the good, manage stress, and remain stable, even when life wasn't. The second group showed nothing. No significant brain changes. Their minds were like unwatered gardens, dry, unchanged, untouched. Can you see the difference now? Gratitude isn't just a warm, fuzzy idea. It's mental armor. It rewires your focus. It changes your state. It equips you for life. And I get it, this might sound cliché. Trust me, I used to roll my eyes at this too. I thought gratitude journaling was just another feel-good habit that didn't do anything real. But one day, I gave it a chance. Every morning, I started writing down just 3 small things I was thankful for. Some days it was simple stuff, clean water, a warm meal, a quiet moment. And over time, my mindset shifted completely. Not overnight, but gradually. I stopped focusing on what I lacked, and started noticing how much I already had. And that's when I understood something that the Stoic philosopher Seneca had said over 2,000 years ago. It is not happiness that makes us grateful, but gratitude that makes us happy. So let me ask you. It's Monday. You wake up, and the first thought in your head is, I need a vacation. Everything would be easier if I had a better job, a bigger house, a different life. Then you head to the sink to wash your face, and your mind keeps humming the same tune. If only I had more money, more time, fewer problems. Then I'd finally be at peace. But tell me, when has it ever been enough? How much do you need before you stop chasing and start living? And the truth is, there will always be something else to want. Another goal to chase. Another thing you feel is missing. But in all that endless reaching, what are you actually losing? Your peace of mind. So if a habit as simple as recognizing what's already good in your life can literally strengthen your brain, help you stay grounded during chaos, and turn your mental state into a source of calm, then ask yourself, why not start doing it today? Here are 3 small habits that can change everything. First, say thank you out loud every morning. Yes, say it. Literally. With intention. Imagine this. You wake up. You stretch. You sit up in bed. And with your first breath of the day, you say, as clearly and powerfully as you can, thank you. It might feel awkward at first. Maybe even a little silly. But try it. Because when you start your day with gratitude instead of worry, your brain shifts focus. It stops scanning for what's missing and starts recognizing what's already here. Second, write down 3 good things before bed. And don't just write the same things over and over. Dig a little deeper. Be present with your day. Maybe it was that cup of coffee that tasted exactly right. Maybe it was a small laugh with someone you love. Maybe it was a moment of peace on your walk home. These details matter. If you don't train your mind to notice the good, it will default to seeing only the bad. Because the brain is designed to protect you, not necessarily to make you happy. You have to retrain it. One moment at a time. Third, focus on what you have, not what you lack. Life isn't about crossing off an endless checklist of desires. Because no matter how many boxes you tick, there will always be another one waiting to be filled. And if you can't appreciate what you have now, you won't appreciate it even when you have twice as much. The peace you're searching for, the clarity you crave, the success you dream of, they're not sitting out there in something you haven't achieved yet. They're in the way you choose to see your life right now. Here's a truth worth tattooing into your mind. Complaining changes nothing. Gratitude changes everything. Lesson 4, think well, and attract the best. Let me tell you a quick story. A few months ago, a friend of mine got some devastating news. A serious health issue. One of those things that flips your world upside down in a single sentence. Suddenly, his days were filled with doctor visits, scans, tests, and a constant cloud of uncertainty. But worse than the diagnosis itself, was the war inside his own mind. Every morning, he'd wake up with thoughts like, what if things get worse? What if I never recover? Why is this happening to me? And with thoughts like those on repeat, each day felt heavier. Time slowed down. He felt like he was stuck in a tunnel with no exit. Until one day, during yet another long wait in a hospital corridor, he heard something, just a few words from a speaker nearby. And something clicked. It was a talk by Tony Robbins, the well-known motivational coach. And what Tony said in that moment didn't change his diagnosis. But it did change his mindset. The speaker's words were simple, but they struck like lightning. The quality of your thoughts defines the quality of your life. Those words echoed in my friend's mind for days. He couldn't shake them. And somewhere deep inside, they felt familiar. So he started digging, looking for where else he'd heard something like that. That's when he stumbled across the writings of Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king, the Stoic emperor. And there it was, almost the exact same idea, written nearly 2,000 years earlier. The happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts. And suddenly, everything made sense. No, my friend couldn't control the illness. He couldn't make the diagnosis disappear. But he could take back control of something even more powerful: how he faced it. So he made a decision, small, quiet, and deeply personal. Every morning, before his feet touched the floor, he would force his mind, gently but firmly, to focus on one positive thing. Just one. Something to look forward to. Something to be grateful for. Something that reminded him he was still alive, and still in control of his inner world. It sounded like this. Today, I'll find something that makes me laugh. Today, I'll treasure every moment with my family. Today, I'll be thankful for what I can do. Here's what's interesting: his circumstances didn't change. The hospital visits, the test results, the waiting, it all remained the same. But he changed. And because he changed, his experience of those moments changed too. They became lighter, more manageable, even meaningful. Because he had shifted the battlefield from the outside world to the inside. And that's exactly what Marcus Aurelius understood better than most. He ruled an empire. He commanded legions. But his greatest battle was never on the battlefield. It was within. Against his own thoughts. He didn't obsess over what might go wrong. He focused on how he would face it. He didn't fixate on fear. He fixed his gaze on clarity, action, and calm. That's how he stayed strong when the world around him spun in chaos. And it can be your way too. So let me ask you. How are you using your mind? Are you feeding it thoughts that lift you up? Or are you filling it with fears that weigh you down? Are you programming your mind to attract the best? Or to focus on the worst? Here's a powerful tool to help you change that. Step 1. Reframe negative thoughts. Every time you catch yourself thinking, "This is a disaster. I can't handle this. Why does this always happen to me?" Pause. Breathe. And reframe. Say instead, "This is a challenge, but I'm learning from it. This is difficult, but I'm becoming stronger. This isn't ideal, but I can still choose how I respond." So when you reframe your thoughts, when you say, "This is a challenge, but I can learn from it," or, "It may not be easy, but I'll find a way," you're not lying to yourself. You're training yourself to stop feeding the fear, and start fueling the solute. Step 2, create space from negativity. Here's something people often overlook. Negativity is contagious. If your daily environment is soaked in complaints, drama, and defeatist thinking, it will seep into you too. Spend enough time around people who always find a reason to give up. And soon, you will too. So take a moment and reflect. Who do you surround yourself with? Do they inspire you? Challenge you to grow? Do they speak in terms of possibility, or limitation? Because the people you choose to keep close will shape your mindset more than you realize. Instead, seek out those who pull you forward. Those who talk about ideas, not gossip. Who believe in action, not excuses. Who help you rise, even on your worst days. Step 3, visualize positive outcomes. Now, I'm not talking about wishful thinking or daydreaming about castles in the sky. I'm talking about something much more practical. Before your day begins, imagine yourself succeeding. Picture yourself staying calm in traffic. Picture yourself speaking clearly in that meeting. Handling pressure with grace. Turning setbacks into pivots. Visualize how you want to feel. How you want to respond. And how you will carry yourself. Not just when things go well, but especially when they don't. Because once your mind has rehearsed success, your body and choices follow that blueprint. At the end of the day, it all comes down to this. Your mind is the filter through which you experience reality. If you train it to think clearly, to stay calm, to focus on the good, you won't just feel better, you'll live better. You'll attract the right people, make better decisions, and become the most powerful version of yourself. So let me ask you, my friend, what do you want to attract into your life? Write it in the comments below. Say it with conviction. Because everything starts with a thought. Lesson 5, your attention defines your reality. Let me ask you something. When you walk down the street, what do you notice? Do you see the stress? The rushing people, the traffic, the noise, the tension? Or do you notice something smaller? The light of the sun hitting the side of a building? The breeze rustling the trees? A stranger offering a quiet smile? Here's what's fascinating. Reality is the same for everyone. But what you experience depends entirely on what you choose to focus on. Think about that famous meme with the two people on the same bus. One staring at a dark stone wall, miserable. The other's gazing out at a breathtaking landscape, filled with light and beauty. Same journey. Same road. But a completely different experience. Why? Because of the side they chose to sit on. And life works exactly the same way. If you only ever look at what's wrong, what's missing, what's broken, you'll live inside a world that feels cold and grey. But if you shift your gaze, just a little, if you turn your head and look in the right, you'll start to see something else entirely direction. You might realize that the view was always beautiful. You just weren't looking at it. Will Smith once said something incredibly powerful in an interview. If you want success, if you want happiness, if you want to achieve any goal, you have to learn to ignore distractions and focus only on what truly matters. And for him, that's been the key, not luck, not talent alone, but knowing exactly where to direct his energy. Because here's the truth. Your attention is like an Instagram filter. The filter you apply changes everything you see. If your mind is tinted with worry, complaints, stress, and negativity, then everything you look at will feel darker, heavier, more hopeless. But what if you learned to switch filters? What if you trained yourself to focus on what you can control? On what's working? On what's worth your time, energy, and presence? Your entire world could shift. Let's try something. Think back, just a few days. What's one thing that made you feel upset, anxious, or angry? Maybe it was a rude comment from someone. A setback at work. Something you saw on social media that triggered insecurity or frustration. How did that moment shape the rest of your day? Now imagine this. Instead of letting it dominate your thoughts, you had redirected your attention. You chose to focus on something within your control. A small win from earlier. A peaceful moment with your coffee. A kind message from a friend. A task you completed that made you feel useful. Do you think your mood, your energy, your mental state would have been exactly the same? Probably not. That's the power of attention. It's not just what you see. It's how you shape your reality. So, if you want to regain your sense of calm, if you want to refocus your energy on what actually leads to success, here's where to start. Step 1, go on a mental diet. Just like you watch what you put into your body, you need to watch what you feed your mind. Every piece of content, every article, every post, every conversation, they're all mental calories. So ask yourself, are you consuming things that build you up or break you down? Reduce the amount of negative news you allow into your daily routine. You don't need to ignore reality, but you don't need to bathe in fear and outrage every hour either. Filter your social media feed like you filter your water. Only allow what's clean, clear, and actually nourishing to stay. Ask yourself, is what I'm watching or reading helping me grow? Or is it just draining my energy? Because your mind is like a garden. Whatever you plant, grows. If you constantly pour in fear, comparison, gossip, and noise, don't be surprised when weeds show up. Your mind is a garden, and what you water, grows. So if you want peace, strength, and clarity to flourish, you need to be intentional about where your attention goes. Step 2, do an attention reset. We all fall into mental ruts. You catch yourself spiraling into negative thoughts, replaying the same worries over and over in your head like a broken record. That's your sign, it's time to reset. Literally change your environment. Stand up. Go outside. Take a walk. Breathe in deeply, and look around. Notice something you've been ignoring, a tree, the shape of the clouds, a stranger's smile. And here's the trick. Don't just change your scenery. Change your question. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Ask, what can I learn from this? What's this teaching me? Because questions shape focus. And focus shapes reality. Step 3, surround yourself with aligned people. This one is critical. If you're constantly around people who complain, who blame, who never take ownership, guess what you'll start doing? Exactly the same. Your mindset is influenced by the conversations you hear, the energy you absorb, and the standards you normalize. So choose wisely. Spend more time with people who light a fire in you. People who inspire. People who push you to level up. Who don't just point out problems, but challenge you to create solutions. As Epictetus once said, where your attention goes, there is your soul. And in the end, what you consistently focus on becomes the lens through which you experience life. Train your attention to see what strengthens you, and you'll naturally become more resilient. Make sharper decisions, and stay calm, even in chaos. Lesson 6: If you don't rest, your mind shuts down. Let's get real. How many times have you forced yourself to keep going when your brain was already screaming for a break? You sit in front of your computer, trying to focus, but your thoughts feel scrambled, like static on a broken TV. You read the same sentence 3 times, and still don't absorb a single word. So, you grab a coffee, then another, and another. But your thinking doesn't get clearer, it gets foggier. You feel more frustrated, more drained. And the worst part? Instead of recognizing that you need rest, you push even harder. You grind. You guilt yourself. You think, I just need to work through this. But let me ask you something honestly. Is that helping you? Of course not. You're just making more mistakes and spiraling deeper into exhaustion. Here's a truth most people never hear. Rest is not a luxury. It's a necessity. Look at your phone. If you used it non-stop, morning to night, without charging it, what would happen? Exactly. It shuts down. And no matter how much you tap it, shake it, or yell work at the screen, it won't respond. Not until you give it what it needs. Time to recharge. So tell me, why do you treat your mind any differently? The Stoics understood this centuries ago. Seneca put it perfectly when he said, even the sharpest sword needs rest to keep its edge. Because what good is a perfect weapon if you wear it down until it can no longer cut? And what good is a brilliant mind if you burn it out chasing productivity, instead of protecting your greatest tool, exhaust it to the point where it can no longer think clearly? That's what happens when you push your mind past its limit. It doesn't just get tired, it breaks down. Focus disappears. Creativity flatlines. Decisions become sloppy. Seneca knew this long before we had sleep studies or brain scans. He made time for rest, for reflection, for stillness. And not because he was lazy. He saw it as strategy. He understood that stepping back wasn't weakness. It was preparation to come back stronger, sharper, more in control. And now, modern neuroscience proves he was right. Studies show that rest improves memory, learning, emotional regulation, and self-control. In other words, rest isn't just recovery. It's a key part of performance. But let's ditch the dry science for a second. Here's a simple image that will make it crystal clear. Your brain is like a whiteboard. Every day, you write on it. Your to-dos, your conversations, your worries, your goals, your memories. But what happens when you never erase anything? You run out of space. It gets cluttered. Your thoughts overlap. Your ideas blur together. Eventually, there's no room left to think clearly. sleep is how you wipe that whiteboard clean. It's how your brain makes space for new ideas, for better decisions, for calm. Now do you see why rest isn't optional? You might be thinking, sure, but my life is too chaotic to get decent rest. I hear you. And that's exactly why you need these next strategies. Simple steps you can take starting tonight to bring more calm into your world. Strategy 1, reduce screen time before bed. Yes, I know, it sounds like cliché advice. But there's a reason everyone keeps saying it. It works. The blue light from your phone tricks your brain into thinking it's still daytime. So when you go to bed after watching videos, reading headlines, or scrolling through reels, don't expect your mind to just switch off. Instead, you've wired it to stay alert, reactive, even anxious. Start small. Cut off screens 30 to 60 minutes before bed. Give your mind a chance to power down. Strategy 2, create a nighttime routine. It doesn't need to be complicated. You're not building a ritual, you're sending a signal. Read a few pages of a book. Write down a thought or two in a journal. Stretch in silence. Light a candle. Breathe slowly. Just pause. Whatever you choose, let it become your mental cue. It's time to disconnect. When your brain knows what to expect, it stops fighting you and starts relaxing. Strategy 3, listen to your body. If you feel like you need to stop, then stop. If your mind is foggy, your eyes are heavy, your energy is gone, that's not laziness. That's your system sending a message. And ignoring it doesn't make you stronger. It makes you slower, sloppier, and more likely to break. Remember, an athlete doesn't train non-stop. They rest, because they know their strength depends on recovery. And you are the athlete of your own life. Your mind is your most powerful tool. Treat it like it matters, so believe me when I say this. Resting isn't a waste of time. It's how you recharge your energy, so you can show up stronger the next day. If you truly want success, you don't need more hours of mindless work. You need more clarity, more focus, more calm. And that begins not with how you end your day, but with how you start it. Lesson 7, your mornings shape your destiny. Now imagine this for a second. Marcus Aurelius and Seneca, two of the greatest Stoic thinkers, suddenly wake up in the 21st century. Let's see how they start their mornings. Marcus opens his eyes. Before he even blinks twice, his hand reaches for his phone. He sees a flood of notifications. Unread Senate emails. A wave of social media outrage, someone's furious about his latest decree. And just as he's trying to make sense of it all, he reads the headlines. Chaos at the empire's borders. He sighs, slouches out of bed, pours a cup of coffee, and already feels drained before the day even begins. Now let's look at Seneca. He wakes slowly. No rush, no panic. He takes a deep breath and quietly asks himself, what kind of day do I want to create today? Then, without touching his phone, he stretches, drinks water, and opens his journal. He writes down a few reflections. And before diving into the noise of the world, he steps outside for a short walk. Feeling the fresh air on his face. Grounded in the present. One man starts the day being dragged by circumstances. The other shapes his circumstances before the day even begins. Now be honest. Who do you resemble more in the mornings? So many of us start our days on autopilot. We open our eyes, grab our phones, and within seconds, our minds are flooded. Texts, news, social media, to-do lists, opinions, stress. We haven't even stood up yet. But mentally, we're already overwhelmed. No wonder we feel like the day controls us. Because we never took a moment to control our focus. But imagine this. What if, instead of reacting to whatever shows up, you chose how to start your day? What if your mornings were intentional? Not accidental? Turns out, this isn't just Stoic philosophy anymore. Science backs it up. Dr. Angan Chatterjee, a leading physician and author, explains that the way you start your morning has a direct influence on your mood, focus, and emotional resilience throughout the day. Your morning habits either give your mind structure or leave it exposed to chaos. And no, it doesn't take hours. You don't need to do yoga for 90 minutes or meditate in a mountain cave. Sometimes, all it takes is 5 minutes of silence. Or a simple question. What kind of energy do I want to carry today? Dr. Angan Chatterjee, a leading expert in health and wellness, explains that having a clear and intentional morning routine is one of the most powerful tools for managing stress and maintaining calm. His studies show that when people begin their day with intention, whether through reading, meditation, journaling, or even simply avoiding distractions, they experience lower anxiety, sharper focus, and a more centered state of mind. In other words, how you start your morning isn't just a personal preference. It's a strategy. So let me ask you, how are you starting your days? And more importantly, is your current routine helping you become the calm, focused, and powerful person you want to be? Let's make sure this doesn't stay just a good idea you forget in an hour. Let's make it real. Imagine this moment, right now, as your turning point. Today, I'm going to walk you through what an ideal morning looks like. Not a perfect one. Not a wake up at 4 a.m. and conquer the world fantasy. A real, doable, intentional morning, designed to give you back control. Step 1, no phone for the first 30 minutes. Yes, I know, it sounds impossible. But hear me out. What's the first thing most people do when they open their eyes? They grab their phone. And instantly, boom. Notifications, news, emails, drama, urgency. Your mind, barely awake, gets hit with a wave of stress before you even take your first deep breath. So here's the challenge. For the first 30 minutes of your day, don't touch your phone. Let your mind wake up in peace. Give your nervous system a break. Don't flood your brain with other people's problems before you've centered your own thoughts. Step 2, do one intentional action. Instead of scrolling, do something that gives you a sense of control. It doesn't have to be big. What matters is that you choose it, and you do it with intention. Here are a few simple ideas. Make your bed. Do a few stretches. Drink a glass of water slowly. Prepare a quiet breakfast. Meditate for 1 minute. Write down one goal for the day. The action itself doesn't matter. What matters is the feeling. I started my day with a small win. I'm in charge. Step 3. Visualize the kind of day you want to have. Before the chaos starts, pause. Close your eyes for a moment. And ask yourself, how do I want to respond to challenges today? What kind of energy do I want to carry? What do I want to accomplish? Don't let the day control you. You control it. And if you're not sure how to visualize with clarity, don't worry. We're about to explore that in more detail. Because this one skill, mental visualization, can transform how you handle stress, success, and everything in between. So now, my friend, tell me, how are you going to start your mornings from now on? Write it in the comments. Declare it. Own it. So now, my friend, if you're serious about changing your mornings, share it in the comments. Make it real. Declare it. This community is here to support you on that journey. Step by step, breath by breath. Lesson 8, what you visualize, you build. Let me ask you something. Has this ever happened to you? You decide you want to buy a car. You start thinking about the model, the color, the features, how it would look parked outside your house, how it would feel to drive it, how you'd look behind the wheel. And suddenly, you start seeing it everywhere. On the road, in advertisements, parked in front of the supermarket. It almost feels like the universe is sending you signs. But it's not magic. It's not fate. It's your brain. Here's what's happening. When you focus your attention on something, your mind starts noticing it more easily. Not because it magically appears, but because you've activated the right filter. Your brain, specifically the reticular activating system, acts like a radar, tuned to whatever you decide is important. And this doesn't just happen with cars. It happens with everything. Money, opportunities, relationships, solutions, growth. What you focus on, you start to find. As Epictetus once said, what you feed your mind becomes your reality. If all you feed it is thoughts of lack, frustration, and fear, then everywhere you look, you'll see more proof that life is hard and unfair. But if you begin feeding it thoughts of progress, of growth, of resilience, you'll start finding paths you couldn't see before. Because here's a powerful secret. Your brain doesn't know the difference between something you vividly imagine and something you've actually lived. Roxana Fauci, a well-known expert on visualization, explains that picturing your future with clarity isn't just a feel-good exercise. It's the way to train your brain for success. Let's try it. Close your eyes. Picture your ideal home. Not in vague, fuzzy thoughts, but in full sensory detail. What color are the walls? How does the sunlight pour through the windows? What scent fills the air, fresh linen, coffee? What music is playing in the background? How does it feel to walk barefoot on the floor? Now go deeper. Imagine the steps you'd have to take to get there. not as a fantasy, but as a path. What sacrifices would you make? What habits would you need to form? What choices, big and small, would you commit to daily? Can you feel it becoming more real? Good. Because the clearer your vision is in your mind, the easier it becomes to recognize the right doors when they open. The more focused your inner world, the more aligned your outer world becomes. So how do you use visualization to stay calm and achieve success? Here's the first step. Create a mental script for your goals. It's not enough to say, I want to be better, or I want to succeed. You need to see it, hear it, feel it. So if your goal is to become more confident, don't just say it. Visualize a moment where you embody confidence. See yourself walking into that meeting room. Chin up, shoulders back, voice clear. You shake hands. You speak with ease. You leave no doubt in the room. That's what your brain needs, specific, clear images. That's what gives it a direction. Want to build a successful business? Don't just picture a logo or a number in your bank account. See your daily reality inside that business. Imagine the smell of your morning coffee in your office. The way your team greets you. The energy of a productive meeting. The satisfaction at the end of the day when you close your laptop, knowing you built something real. The more vivid the scene, the more your brain believes. This is possible. And this is where I'm going. Step 2, surround yourself with visual cues. Have you ever noticed how athletes decorate their training spaces? Walls covered in motivational quotes. Photos of their idols. Highlights of their greatest moments playing on loop. That's not just decoration. That's mental reinforcement. Your environment constantly shapes your thoughts. So instead of letting random noise fill your space, design it with intention. Put a sticky note with your core goal on your bathroom mirror. Change your phone wallpaper to something that inspires you. Keep a quote on your desk that brings you back to focus. Follow accounts that challenge your mindset, not drain it. Because calmness isn't just something you wait for. It comes when you know where you're headed. And success? It isn't a matter of chance. It's the result of intentional thought, clear vision, and daily action. Lesson 9, breathe, and take back control. Picture this. The game is on. The room is quiet. The air is thick with tension. Around the poker table, players hold their cards close. But the true experts, they're not looking at the cards. They're watching faces. Reading every flicker of doubt, every bead of sweat. Because in poker, just like in life, you don't win with the best hand. You win by playing the hand you've got with control. Beginners give themselves away. Their breathing is uneven. They fidget. Their forehead glistens with stress. You can read them like an open book. But the pros? They sit still. They breathe slow. They give you nothing. They don't blink. They don't flinch. They don't let the opponent see inside. Why? Because they know one powerful truth. In poker, and in life, the one who loses control, loses the game. Now shift that scene. Forget poker chips. Forget cards. Instead, picture a real-life argument. Someone's pushing your buttons. They're criticizing you, provoking you, maybe even trying to humiliate you. You feel it. Your heart pounding. Your chest tightening. Your breath shortening. Your mind racing to defend itself. Your words are loaded, ready to fire. You're seconds away from saying something that can't be taken back. But wait. Pause. Because this right here, this is the moment where everything is decided. So, when you're standing at that breaking point, where frustration is boiling over and your instinct is to explode, you have two choices. You can say the first thing that comes to mind. Or you can do something far more powerful. What the Stoics mastered. Stay calm. And no, this isn't about looking cool or avoiding embarrassment. This is about the difference between being a slave to your emotions, or being the one who writes your own story. Marcus Aurelius lived this daily. He ruled an empire, managed armies, faced betrayal, war, and political chaos. And still, he didn't allow his emotions to rule him. Why? Because he practiced calm. He practiced presence. He practiced control. He once said, "Calm yet determined, cheerful yet steady. That is the man who follows reason in all things." That's the key. Because your mind can be your greatest ally, or your worst enemy. And it all depends on one thing. Do you control it? Or do you let it control you in moments of tension and stress? What's the first thing you should do? Breathe. It might sound too simple. But hear this clearly. Whoever doesn't control their breathing doesn't control their mind. And whoever doesn't control their mind can't control their life. So next time you feel like you're about to lose control, use these simple tools to pull yourself back. Tip 1, the 4-7-8 technique. Inhale through your nose for 4 seconds. Hold your breath for 7 seconds. Exhale slowly through your mouth for 8 seconds. That's it. It might sound basic, but it works because it forces your body to reset. It tells your nervous system, you're safe, you're calm, you're back in control. Tip 2, practice compassion. When someone snaps at you, yells at you, or lashes out, remember, it's usually not about you. It's their own stress, their own chaos, their own pain, spilling out. Maybe they're having a bad day. Maybe they're stuck in a bad life. Or maybe they've just never learned to handle their thoughts. That doesn't excuse them. But it does give you an advantage. You get to choose. Step into their storm, or stay in your own calm. You can't even imagine what you're missing until you allow yourself to be still. It's like that moment in the movie Eat, Pray, Love. The protagonist, trapped in a life that no longer fulfills her, makes a radical choice to leave everything behind and go on a journey to find herself. But she doesn't find herself in the noise of the world. She doesn't discover clarity while racing through schedules or solving problems. She finds it in silence. At a retreat in India, she confronts something far scarier than a new country or unfamiliar faces. She faces herself. No distractions. No screens. No external validation. Just her and her thoughts. And it's hard. Her mind screams. Her anxiety spikes. She wants to run. To check out. To fill the emptiness with something, anything. But she stays. And something incredible happens. When the external noise fades, she begins to hear something else. Her own voice. Not the voice of doubt, or fear, or perfectionism. But the quiet, steady voice that had been waiting all along to be heard. And in that stillness, she finds the answers she had been chasing in all the wrong places. Not because someone handed them to her, but because the silence made space for her to finally hear the truth within. The Stoics understood this long before any retreat center or modern therapist. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." He understood that the real storm isn't outside. It's in your head. It's the constant noise. Worrying about things that haven't happened. Replaying conversations that are long over. Obsessing over outcomes you can't control. We fill our heads with so much mental clutter. We can't even think clearly, let alone find peace. But here's the power of silence. The one who learns to find calm in stillness can find calm anywhere. And again, science is catching up to this ancient wisdom. A study from Duke University showed something remarkable. When we spend time in silence, our brains don't slow down. They don't shut off or enter some passive standby mode. In fact, the opposite happens. It's like trying to find something in a messy room. You dig through piles. You open drawers. You look under everything. The more you search, the more overwhelmed you feel. It's chaos. But then, you stop. You take a deep breath. You clear just one small space. And suddenly, there it is. Right in front of you. That's what silence does for the mind. It doesn't make everything disappear. It simply organizes the mess. So you can finally see what's been there all along. And neurologically, this moment of quiet activates something profound, that clarity you're searching for. That breakthrough idea. That solution. That sense of calm. It often comes from the most unexpected place. The silence inside your own mind. And there's a scientific reason for that. When you allow yourself even a few moments of quiet, your brain activates a powerful system known as the default mode network. It's a neural network that kicks in when you're not focused on the outside world. When you're not scrolling, reacting, or multitasking. And what does it do? It connects ideas. It sorts memories. It solves dilemmas. It untangles the knots in your thinking and brings buried answers to the surface. It's like your mind, finally freed from distraction, starts cleaning house, organizing thoughts, clearing clutter, and piecing together solutions that once felt completely out of reach. So if your mind feels like a constant storm and you can't seem to find the answers, here are 3 simple ways to begin using silence as a tool. First, disconnect for 30 minutes a day. Just 30 minutes. No screens. No conversations. No background noise. Just you and the quiet. You can do this in the morning, before bed, or even on your lunch break. Find your window. Protect it. Keep it sacred. Give your mind a space where it doesn't have to perform. Just breathe. Second, take silent walks. No music. No podcasts. No distractions. Just your footsteps, your breath, and your thoughts. At first, it might feel awkward, even boring. But give it time. You'll soon notice something powerful. Ideas start bubbling up. Emotions begin to settle. Solutions appear, ones you couldn't force into view before. Third, write down what arises. Keep a notebook nearby. It doesn't need to be poetic. Just raw, honest, free. Write down what comes to mind during your silent time. Thoughts, fears, ideas, questions. Why? Because when you write, you externalize your thinking. You begin to see patterns. You recognize the stories you've been repeating. And you get the power to reframe them. Here's a simple but powerful truth. If you can't stand being alone with your own thoughts, why would anyone else want to be? Silence is not the enemy. It's not something to avoid or drown out. It's the tool. The bridge between a noisy mind and the mind that leads with clarity. So, my friend, if you truly want to stay calm and move forward with intention, there's one more thing you cannot overlook. It's a detail so simple that most people miss it. But it can make all the difference. Between an overwhelmed, anxious brain and one that feels grounded and sharp. Ready to find out what it is? Lesson 11, use your hands. Calm your mind. Let me tell you a story. There once was a man who couldn't sit still. Not because he was restless or impatient, but because his mind was full of questions. Watching the world wasn't enough for him. He needed to understand it. To touch it. Take it apart. Rebuild it. With his own hands he endlessly designed machines that hadn't yet been invented. He studied the human body with obsessive detail. He sketched, calculated, built, and wrote, relentlessly. Not just because he was curious. Not just to create art or advance science. He did it because he understood something most people never learn. His mind worked best when his hands were busy. When he felt stuck, he picked up a pencil and sketched. When his thoughts became chaotic, he didn't spiral, he organized them into diagrams and motion. And when words failed, he let action do the speaking. That was his secret. He didn't wait for clarity. He created it, through movement, through making, through doing. That man was Leonardo da Vinci. A genius, yes. But also a man who discovered a principle that still eludes many today. When your mind is overwhelmed, the answer isn't to think harder. It's to move, to do, to engage. So let me turn the question to you, my friend. What do you do when your thoughts start to pile up? When stress presses in? When ideas float around like clouds, but never land? When anxiety stiffens your body and your brain just won't cooperate? You freeze. You try to push through. You sit, overthinking the overthinking. But what if the solution is simpler? Move your hands. Marcus Aurelius said it best. Well-directed action brings peace to the mind. In other words, calm doesn't come from sitting still and waiting for the storm to pass. It comes when you take action. Not frantic, chaotic action, but intentional, small, physical movement. Picture this. You're at work. Everything is spiraling. Your inbox is overflowing. Your phone won't stop buzzing. People are demanding answers. Your chest tightens. Your head spins. You feel like you're seconds from snapping. And worse, you wish you were that person. You know the one. The one who stays cool under pressure. The one who thinks clearly, speaks calmly, acts wisely. The one who people trust, even in chaos. Because in the end, those are the people who move forward, who lead, who succeed. But here's the thing. How do you become that person? When everything around you feels like it's on fire. You don't just tell yourself to calm down. You give your mind what it needs most in that moment. Direction, focus, physical grounding. You use your hands. I know. You're probably thinking, that sounds too simple, too basic. But the brain doesn't need something complicated. It needs something tangible. Thinking, my hands? What kind of nonsense is that? Yeah, I hear you. It sounds too basic, too old school, maybe even childish. But here's the truth. Simplicity doesn't mean weakness. Simplicity often means wisdom, the kind we've forgotten in a world that glorifies constant motion and mental overload. So here's what I want you to do. First, dedicate at least 10 minutes a day to a hands-on activity. Just 10 minutes. Draw. Write by hand, not on a screen. Chop vegetables slowly. Fix a loose screw. Repot a plant. Fold laundry with care. No, I'm not asking you to pull out your sketchbook in the middle of a chaotic office. But you can absolutely carve out one space in your day, a sacred pause, where your hands are moving and your mind can finally breathe. Because in those moments, your brain shifts gears. It's no longer trying to solve 1,000 things at once. It's doing one thing, well. And that's where clarity starts to grow. Second, remove distractions. Seriously. Forget multitasking. Turn off your notifications. Close the extra tabs. And whatever you do, don't play music with lyrics. This isn't about escaping into entertainment. It's about getting back in touch with yourself. Your hands. Your breath. Your presence. Just you and the task in front of you. Because when the mind focuses on one simple, physical action, stress melts away. Quietly, gently, without permission. And sometimes, that's all you need. Third, pay attention to how you feel afterward. Maybe your to-do list is still there. Maybe the world didn't magically fix itself. But you'll feel different. More grounded. More steady. More you. It won't always be dramatic, but trust me, you'll feel the storm in your mind start to settle. Even just a little. And in that space, that little moment of calm, you'll start making better decisions. When words fail. When your thoughts spin in circles. When you feel like you're drowning in mental chaos. Let your hands do the talking. Let them guide you back. Back to center. Back to calm. Back to clarity. Because sometimes, the silence of a small, mindful action speaks louder than 1,000 screaming thoughts. So now I'll ask you. What's your go-to hands-on ritual? What's that one small thing you do that brings your mind back to peace? Be bold. Share it in the comments. Not just to inspire others, but to remind yourself that you have more control than you think. Because calm isn't the absence of noise or chaos. It's your secret weapon. The foundation for wise decisions. For purposeful action. And for real, lasting transformation. And that brings us to one final truth. One principle that ties everything together and turns inner calm into true, outward success. Ready to hear it? Let's wrap this journey together. When you stop fighting battles that were never yours to win, and instead choose to focus on what you can control, that's where transformation begins. That's where the noise fades. And that's where true success starts, not from the outside, but from within. And if you're still wondering whether staying calm can really take you far, just look around. The most successful people aren't always the loudest, the fastest, or the most visible. They're the ones who stay calm in chaos, think before they act, and act with intention. Calmness isn't weakness. It's power under control. It's the conscious choice to not let the outside world shake your inner world. Every time you stay silent instead of arguing. Every time you choose patience over impulse. You're laying down the unshakable foundation for real success, the kind that isn't moved by praise or blame. Right pointing finger emoji. If this message speaks to something deep inside you, hit subscribe and walk with us, those who choose steady purpose over noisy distraction. Because the one who stays calm is the one who goes the farthest. So if you've made it this far, if you've walked with us through all the lessons, through all the questions, through all the moments of reflection, let us know in the comments below. I choose calm to guide my success. Let those words be your declaration. Let them be a reminder that you are not a prisoner of your thoughts. You are their master. You are the architect of your inner world. And every time you choose peace over panic, clarity over confusion, action over reactivity, you're becoming something rare. Something powerful. You're becoming a Stoic lifestyle in the modern world. And I want to know, who are the ones who stayed to the end? Who are the minds committed to growth, discipline, and stillness? Drop that comment, my friend. Because in this community, we move forward together. If this video resonated with you, if it gave you even one moment of clarity, strength, or calm, please do me a favor. White tick mark emoji, subscribe to the channel. Bell emoji, hit that notification bell so you never miss the next insight. Red heart emoji, and like this video to help it reach someone else who might need it today. And when you're ready to go deeper, right pointing finger emoji, tap the playlist on the screen right now. It's full of timeless wisdom, practical Stoic tools, and powerful stories to keep building your inner fortress. The path doesn't end here. It's just beginning.